All right, welcome back to the history of Bond. In 1987, two big things happened. One, there was a new James Bond, and two, I was born. But yes. So after You Two Would Kill, Roger Moore's time was up. It's James Bond, and so the next James Bond was to be Pierce Brosnan. He was currently on a show at the time called Remington Steele, which was canceled. And he was chosen to be the next James Bond. When the producers and showrunners of Remington Steele found this out, they renewed the show to piggyback off the news that he was going to be James Bond. Not wanting to share the actor between the two things, they let Brosnan go. Or Eon let Cubby Broccoli, whatever, let Brosnan go and brought on Timothy Dalton, who had been asked several times before, but he thought he was too young, and now he's here to. Now he finally coming in to do his films. He does two films. And before I get into the film, I gotta say, I actually really like Timothy Dalton's James Bond. And only one film, I think he is perfect for James Bond. The best since Sean Connery, for sure. Connery's always going to be the top tier. And I've always put Brosnan high tier. I've kind of taken Brosnan away right now, and I'm just ranking the ones that I've watched, through. So if I was to do that, at the bottom would be Lazenby, because I think he's the worst. He's wooden, Roger Moore is there, kind of a middle range. Timothy Dalton, and then Sean Connery right now. Brosnan, I like Brosnan. We'll see where he goes. I gotta watch through all his films before I judge. Just one film, and I can say that Dalton is the best since Connery. He has this real no-nonsense version of Bond that really works. And I think it's the most I've seen Bond smile in a movie. I can't recall the last time I see James Bond smile. Like, maybe Lazenby? I don't remember Roger Moore smiling at all. If he did, it wasn't very much. But anyway, so we have The Living Daylights. It starts with a pre-title sequence, of course. And it's a training exercise for the 00 agents, but there are some spies in there that kill some agents, and we are introduced to our James Bond, now played by Timothy Dalton, who chases down the killer and ends up blowing up a plane that he's on. I think it's a plane or a truck. It's a truck. It's like a truck jeep thing. He blows it up, and he, parachutes down onto a boat, where we get our introduction line where this woman comes in. He goes, "I need to use your phone." She's like, "Who are you?" He goes, and it was a very strong, stern, no-nonsense way. He says, "Bond, James Bond." No pause, just very direct. "Bond, James Bond." Yeah, it tells you right now it's going to be more serious than Roger Moore, And so a real story starts with Bond being brought in to help see the defection of Russian KGB general Georgy Koskov, played by Yarun Krabbe, if I pronounced that right. And he's Dutch. And he sounds Dutch. He doesn't sound Russian. He sounds Dutch. However, to be honest, though, there's another thing. They are currently on the run from the new head of the AGB. General Goebel is no longer in charge. That's because Walter Gotell, who played him, was ill at the time, and he has a small cameo at the end of the film. But so they have the new Russian guy who, as far as I know, never shows up again. But he is Russian General Pushkin, played by British actor John Rhys Davies, who I've talked about on the show with Sliders. And he's British. and he sounds British. He tries to put a little. He's more Russian than Krabe, but he's, you know, you get John Rhys Davies, you know. I mean, he was a British Moroccan man in Indiana Jones, so Indy, you know. And we are, as well as Bond and the MI6, are tricked into believing that Pushkin is the villain of this film. So they put Koskov in this little tube thing, send him to Austria, and then they send him to, you know, England, the United Kingdom, whatever we want to call it, where Bond shows up, and he's introduced. We see the Minister of Defense. He's there, and we see M, once again played by Robert Brown. Is it Robert Brown? I think it is. And of course, Koskov is there, and that's where we get the information on Pushkin. And then we meet Nekros, played by the guy from Die Hard that was killed by John McClane and then thrown in the elevator on the shirt that says, "Now I have a machine gun, ho ho ho." That guy, apparently his name was Tony. Didn't even know his name in that movie. Negros. He's a good henchman here. He kills people with headphones. You know, he infiltrates and he kidnaps Koskov. And we're led to believe that he works for Pushkin. During the trying to get Koskov out of Czechoslovakia, which is where he was at the beginning of the film, Bond had an encounter with an assassin who he realized was the cellist that was playing earlier when they were in the concert hall, and hesitated to kill her. And so he begins investigating this woman, and he finds out that she's actually Koskov's girlfriend, and it was a setup. We find out that Bond starts to realize, going through stuff, he starts to realize that Koskov set them up. The thing was that Koskov was supposed to pretend to be defecting, and then Nekros would kidnap him, and they would be led to believe that Pushkin was behind it. He was supposed to kill Kara, which is the woman's name, and she would be out of the way, and then he's supposed to kill Pushkin. He starts tailing Kara and pretends to be a friend of Koskov's, and eventually, you know, they fall in love, of course, because it's a James Bond movie. He's got to fall in love with the Bond girl, and there's this funny scene, which you could say it's kind of goofy, but I think it works, where they're sliding down the snow slope, you know, in her cello case, and he gives her like a badge or something to wave up as they pass by. He throws the cello up, and he goes, "We have nothing to declare." She goes, "Except for the cello," and it echoes, and I thought that was kind of funny. And they do kind of have this little montage of them falling in love and stuff, even though she's supposed to be Koskov's girlfriend. And eventually, Bond is able to set up. He tracks down Pushkin, and with making believe that maybe he still believes that Pushkin is, you know, behind it. But they stage an assassination, and Koskov is revealed to be working with an American arms dealer, I think, named Brad Whitaker, played by Joe Don Baker, who would later play an ally to Bond in GoldenEye, which is okay. I mean, if Maud Adams could play two roles, why not, right? Technically three, but no one even knows if she's actually in A View to a Kill, because I couldn't see her and I tried to look. I don't know. But anyways, eventually though, Kara finally gets some brains and calls Koskov, and Koskov tells her that Bond is a KGB agent. She drugs him, and they both get taken away, and he's going to kill her too because she was supposed to die. Which is probably why Whitaker has a look on his face, because she's supposed to be dead. Which is why he hasn't tried to contact her at all, because she's supposed to be dead. Even though the KGB knows she's still alive, so. Oh, and I should mention before I forget, we have a new Moneypenny, played by Caroline Bliss, and she's okay. She's definitely a nerdier version. I mean, it's better than old Granny, because Lois Maxwell, nothing against her, she was getting up there, and so it was time for a new Moneypenny, and I think it works. It works. Eventually, they get to, I don't know if they're in Russia, but they're in Afghanistan. That's where they are, and they're put in a holding cell where Bond escapes using his special keychain that does stuff when he whistles, so like that. And they also rescue this other guy who is the leader of the Mujahideen. I don't know. I feel like, I always say that these movies go long in the tooth, and I feel like they could have taken this Mujahideen stuff out, and it would have lessened the film a little bit. Nothing against it, but it just feels like padding to me. Like, they go there, and it's just here where it's just like, okay, Bond wants to go back to Russia. They have these dudes laughing at him for some reason. And then he decides he's going to do it on his own, and Carl's going to go with the Mujahideen to do something, and then he blows up a plane. He not blows up a plane, but he blows up something, and then he blows up a bridge with a plane, and he and Carl almost crash into a mountain. Yeah, that's it. And then he has a confrontation with Whitaker, which is also kind of stupid, because Whitaker has this weird shield thing on this gun that he's using, and Bond shoots all 8 of his shots, which I thought those kind of guns only have 6, but okay. And you've had your 8, which is kind of a callback to From Russia with Love, or no, Dr. No, with you've had your 6. Shoot the guy in the Professor Dent. But and like, why doesn't Bond just shoot him in the crotch or something? But all the shots go at this. I could see if maybe he was magnetized, but they never say that. Like, he just shoots the shield all the times, and it's like, why doesn't he shoot under it? Eventually, though, he blows himself up. They go back and forth. He dies, and then Pushkin shows up. And looks over the body. In comes Koskov, pretending that he was kidnapped by Whitaker. But Pushkin knows the truth and has him arrested. And then we get the ending wrap-up scene here, where we have M and General Gobel talking, and in comes the leader of the Mujahideen guy, and she goes, I'm sorry we missed the, I'm not going to try to do it, but they do a joke that I didn't really know if it landed right, where he says, I'm sorry we missed the performance, but we held up at the airport, and M looks at Gobel and goes, I can't imagine why. It's like, yeah, not really. That's not a good joke, especially after 9/11, post 9/11 world. So they ask where Bond is, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but he's out on a mission." And Kara gets all pouty and then goes back to her dressing room where Bond is waiting, because she sees 2 martini glasses, and she whistles, and his key thing goes beep, 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 and she finds him, and we end on a, oh, James. I thought this was pretty good. The theme song. I got to talk about the theme song by a-ha. 2 in a row. 2 in a row with good theme songs. And I've already listened to the theme song for the next film, so I can actually say that's 3 in a row. You count GoldenEye, that's 4. That's 4 in a row because I've seen GoldenEye, so I know that theme song is good. Tina Turner. And the next one is Gladys Knight. That's a good one. It's a slow one, but it's still a good one. I've listened to that one a few times. But Living Daylights by Aha. Very good song. And I think Timothy Dalton is a great Bond. Like I said, right now he's number 2 in my rankings. I'm not including Brosnan. We'll see where he lands. I'm not including Craig. I haven't got to those yet. I've only seen 1, technically 2 of his films. But very good films. And like I said, the first half of this film I think is pretty good. When you get to the Mujahideen stuff, it kind of slows down for me. But overall, this film is still really good. I like the action set pieces really well. Even the pre-title sequence was really good. The title sequence, of course, is great. And this is John Barry, who is the composer for the films, makes a cameo appearance at the end. And this is also his last film he composed. And the score in this film is fantastic. And for the first time in a long time, Bond drives an Aston Martin again, which is refreshing to. I thought this film was pretty good. I think it's one of the better ones. It'll be high in my ranking, which, by the way, I think I'm going to put the Dalton and Brosnan movies together to rank them because there's only 4 Brosnan, 2 Dalton. I could put Lazenby in there too, but I don't want to. I might put these. They're closer in together, so being in the 80s, the late 80s, and then the 90s, who knows? But yeah, this is really good. I can't wait for License to Kill. I hear it's the darkest one so far that I've been, which is a good change for the Roger Moore era, which I didn't hate. But we'll see. So what are your thoughts on The Living Daylights? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I did that at one point. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.